What is going on, guys? My name is Mehul and welcome to this tutorial in which I'm going to show you how to set up and start working with Node.js and MySQL, and you might also make use of Express framework. So MySQL, as you know, that it is a database and you can make use of it to store data like login information of people, their credit card information if you're having an e-commerce website and all that good stuff. So the problem is that how do you communicate between your front end or your back end and your database? So because if you can't contact your backend with your database, then there's pretty much no use of this. So this tutorial would be on how to do Node.js plus MySQL working together, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's what's the aim for this tutorial, and let's get started with this. So I have this package.json file, and as you might know that this package.json file contains all of that information which is required for your application to work, like dependencies, version, name, and all that stuff. For example, I've just restricted that to 3 details right now, but there's a lot of keys you can add here. Then the next thing is that you should have Node.js installed, and if you haven't installed it yet, then go to this nodejs.org website, and depending on your operating system, this would show you a choice for a latest stable release with latest features or the recommended release. You can go with either one of them. Then once you are done with that, what you have to do is actually when you install this, you will get something as Node Package Manager. So this would allow you to install other packages. So open the containing folder, hold shift and right click, go to this command window here or the git bash if you want to, either one is fine. Then right here, make sure you're in the same directory where you are working. So I'm in Node.js plus databases / MySQL, and do a npm install command. Now this npm install would look for a package.json file and would accordingly download or fetch the packages which are unavailable to your computer and which are actually required. So just wait a minute or two depending upon your speed of internet, and it would be done. So as you can see, all the packages are downloaded, Express and MySQL, and I can just get rid of that for now. And inside this node module, you can see that we got a bit of strange thing right here because of Sublime. Let me just give a minute to this. Yeah, so just restarted the Sublime and it's good to go. So we are done with the MySQL and Express. Now what we need to do is write some code actually. So right here, let's just say this is my script.js, and for this what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say that Express is require Express, and if you have no idea what is going on, then I would recommend you to go to my Node.js tutorials first, because I guess I won't be covering Node working here very much. So the next thing is we need is my SQL is require my SQL, and once you are done with this, now we have both the modules, the Node, the Express, and the MySQL. So now you would like to connect to your MySQL database, and to do that, let's just say our connect is MySQL dot create connection. This is an inbuilt method, and all of those properties would go in here, and make sure you make use of this create connect and MySQL, the same name which you are just importing that module into. So the host is, for now, would be localhost, and the username would be, the default one is I guess root, and the password is blank. But for your web application, you might want to set a custom username and a custom password, obviously. Then a database should be here, but we don't have any sort of database for now, so let's just leave it to let's just say sample db. And yeah, so we are pretty much done with the connect one. And for the connection, we can say that connect dot connect, and to avoid confusion we can just make this connection actually, because there's a sort of same name of method. So there's a callback function that when it's connected, then what should happen. So this is a callback, and I guess the parameter is the error. So if there's a sort of error, then you can just make use of the double boolean console log error, else console log connected. So that would just make sure that we are connected or not to our database. And finally we need to just app.listen. This was app or express, I guess. We have to create an app variable as well. Our app is express. Here we go. And then finally I wanted to listen on 1337 port, and before that let's just create a route as well, which would just work on this. And don't forget to pass the parameters request and response. Then I'm gonna say a lot of stuff here about MySQL, but since we don't have any database right now created, so that kinda, it would be just waste to write. But I would just show you the syntax how you write. Like for example, if you want to query something from your database, so what you have to do is that connection or connect what we are, yeah, connection. So connection dot query, and here would be your SQL query. For example, like select star from database where this is equal to that. You get the idea at least. So if you know SQL, then this part should be easy for you. So for example, if we create a database, which we'll create real soon, then we'll pass in a query like select star from, what would be our database, sample DB, and I'm not giving any condition for now. And for the function, what we can do is, first one is the error, which is error in the query. Then we have rows and the fields. So if I just, or let me just hide this sidebar, sorry. So we get a better view of the code. So once you are done with this, now this is again a callback function. Whenever this query is done, this function would fire. And then what you can do is that if there's an error, then console log error in the query, else parse with your rows, fields, whatever you want. So, or we can just show a console log as successful query as well. All right. So if I hop back into terminal, clear this console, and pretty much, so now once we are done with code, we need to actually start the MySQL server. And for this I'm making use of the XAMPP. So we have MySQL on this, and you might make use of some other one as well, or you can just only download MySQL server only if you don't require all of that PHP and Apache stuff. So we are running on port 3306, and if I just go to my local host and php my admin. Okay, so I guess I'm not running the bash. Here we go. And for now I want to create a new database with the name, what we have the name as SampleDB. So let's just create this database and a table. Okay, so for a table name, we'll do select star from, no, this should be a table name. Let's just say this is my sample table. Number of columns should be, let's just keep it to 2. Go. Let's just make the first one as the auto increment one. Alright, and the name is ID, and the second one is the name. Let's just name it to text, or yeah, pretty much that's it. So let's just save this. Okay, so we have now finally created a table, and if I can just insert a bit of numbers right there. So if I do like Mehul Mohan and Codedamn.com as the two. Where is the go button? Here we go. So if I browse this, whoa, ignore unknown table status, table type. Okay, so let's just not pay attention to them. So I have created a simple table, and again, if we go to the terminal, if I do like node script.js, hit enter, we get connected. Simple enough. And for app.listen, I need to go to localhost 1337, and we get successful query. So that's how you pretty much do connect with the MySQL and Node. So again, we can do like console log success, and then I can do console log rows. So if I do something like this and I kill the server, node script.js, we are connected to server. Now we need to visit from the browser. We get the ID1, ID2, ID3, ID4 as Mehul Mohan Codedamn. So this data was inserted a couple of times, I guess, instead of just one time. So we have finally retrieved the data, and yeah, so that's how you pretty much work with this. So again, you can just parse down this data, the rows and the columns one. So if I can do something like rows 0, again, just reset the server. Obviously you would like to install some sort of, you know, something like NodeMon we have for Mac. There's a gulp or grunt which would just automatically take care of your updating of your things right there. Then again, you can have extracted the name out of this. So if I can just clear this out and write something to extract the name, you can do like rows0.name, and then again run the server node script.js connected, and reload. We get Mehul Mohan as this is. So again, you can just do app.get, and right here you can say response, or since this is asynchronous function, I think, therefore you can say response.send hello, and then rows 0.name. So if I just reload this one more time, hit enter, hello Mehul Mohan. So that's how you pretty much extract data from MySQL and Node.js using Express. And one thing you can also do is that since this is, for now, we are just making one connection at a time, but in reality what would happen is that hundreds and thousands of queries would be done at a time. So this code might slow down at your server because it's just taking one request at a time. So instead of this, what you can do is you can just pool the connections in MySQL. And by pooling, what I mean is that you can actually just limit the number of connections, and once the number of connections is reached, so for example there are 200 people right now browsing your website, and 100 people click on login, and your web server is capable of handling like only 50 requests per second, then you can just pool it to 50 requests per second and just pool the 50 other requests for the request when those 50 which were first honored are completed. So in this way your code might look a bit slow, but your server won't crash at least. So to do that, what you have to do is like MySQL create pool, and right here you can make use of connection limit, as let's just say you want to have only 50 connections per second, or you just want your server to handle only 50 SQL queries at a time. So that's what you have to do in this collection limit. And then right here I'll just make a bit of code change. So I'm gonna say that connection dot get connection function, and then what I'm gonna do, we can actually just pass in the error and the temporary connect variable. Now this temporary connect variable would be used instead of the connection variable to do all of the query stuff, because since we have pooled it, so we are just making use of this temporary connect. So what I'm gonna do is like if error is there, then console log, and let's just say error in the query. And yeah, actually I forgot to tell you that you can actually release the connection once you no longer need it. So you can just reduce the stress on the server, and to do that you can just make use of the connection dot release. But since we are working on the pooled version, so we are making use of the temp connect. So I'm gonna make use of this temp connect instead of this connection, because it contains all of the connections for now. So I want the only connection to just release, which is either throwing error or is completed at the server. So again, else what I want to do is that console log connected, and then I want to do a query, again simple like that, which we did previously. Query select star from, and what was the table name, where is it, my sample table, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not supplying any sort of condition. Again, we have the same error rows fields, and if I do like, again we can just release the connection release, because once the query is complete, either it is successful or it is not, so we no longer need the connection. So if again there's a sort of error, then console log error in the query. Else what I want to do is console, or we can just send this to the browser itself. So send rows, and you might want to just actually JSON that, so that you can just send it as a JSON response instead of an object. So alright, now let me just take a look if we are missing something. Doesn't look like actually, so let's try this out. So here's my terminal. Just cancel this program, node script, connection dot connect is not a function. Oh, okay, so we don't need this, I guess. Yep. So again, node script. Alright, so looks like we have to visit the browser, reload, and as you can see, we got the JS1 response for, and inside the terminal as well, we got connected and JS1 response as well. So that's how you pretty much do connect MySQL and Node with each other with the help of the code I have shown you, and I'll leave this code in the as a link in the description, so if you want it then you can just copy it down. And if you like this tutorial then don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.